Hey, everybody. We are continuing to bring you information and news stories that are critical to understanding what's happening in Israel and the Middle East that are not making it into English language Western media. And this story that we're going to talk about today is huge and nobody's talking about it. Have a look at this report.
בוקר טוב, אז בזמן שבעולם מתחילים שנה אזרחית חדשה ומתעסקים בעניינים אחרים, ביהודה ושומרון דרמה שחומקת מתחת לרדאר של התקשורת. גולת הכותרת של האירועים ביהודה ושומרון היא מאבקי השליטה ברחוב הפלסטיני בין אנשי הרשות הפלסטינית לבין גדודי המחבלים המקומיים. בג'נין נמשך המצור שמטילים מנגנוני הביטחון של הרשות הפלסטינית על מחנה הפליטים בעיר, כאשר בינתיים בעימותים בין המנגנונים לבין המחבלים יש כבר 5 אנשי מנגנונים שנהרגו ו6 מחבלים שנהרגו. מי שהופך לפנים של המנגנונים הפלסטינים באירועים האלה הוא דובר המנגנונים אנואר רג'ב. השבוע הוא האשים את איראן בכך שהיא מתחזקת את חמאס והג'יהאד האסלאמי, ובאמצעותן, כך הוא טען, היא מחריבה את הזירה הפנימית הפלסטינית. רק נגיד שהעובדה שאנשי הרשות נאבקים במחבלים לא אומרת שהם ציונים גדולים או משהו כזה, והם עושים את זה בעיקר בגלל שהמחבלים קוראים תיגר על השלטון של הרשות ומפירים את המשילות שלה. ככה אנחנו רואים את אותו דובר המנגנונים שדיברנו עליו, אנואר רג'ב, משגר השבוע ברכה למחבלים שיצאו מתוך שורות המנגנונים, ואומר עליהם, אני מצטט, הם סמלים לגאווה ולכבוד הפלסטינים. אז בינתיים לא ברור איך ימשיכו להתגלגל האירועים ביהודה ושומרון.
All right, folks, there's a lot to unpack here. First, important background information. The Palestinian Authority, which is currently under the leadership of Mahmoud Abbas, is the official governing body of the Arab areas in Judea and Samaria, otherwise known as the West Bank. The Palestinian Authority came to power in the mid-1990s as a result of what's known as the Oslo Peace Accords, which granted some measure of autonomy to the Palestinians as a first step in a process that might lead towards a Palestinian state if things would go well. Things did not go well. There were violence against Israelis continued from these areas, and the Palestinian Authority very quickly became extremely corrupt, which was no surprise to anyone because the leaders of the Palestinian Authority were the terrorist organization, the Palestine Liberation Organization, led by Yasser Arafat. Well, in 2006, they had an election, and in that election, they lost control of the Gaza Strip because Hamas won a majority in the legislature there. So Hamas took over the Gaza Strip in 2006. From the Palestinian Authority. And ever since then, the Palestinian Authority has canceled all elections because everyone knows that if they had elections, they would lose because they don't have popular support. And the people there, the Arabs there, the Palestinians, would overwhelmingly support Hamas. In this time period, since 2006 till today, Hamas has grown stronger and stronger in these areas, to the point that Hamas has taken over. Hamas and another terrorist group, Palestinian Islamic Jihad, have taken over whole towns and significant areas in the Palestinian Authority governed areas. So the Palestinian Authority doesn't even have control over the entire area that's ostensibly under its authority. Ever since the Palestinian Authority was created back in the 90s, they've been supporting and encouraging terrorism, the worst kind of anti-Semitic jihadist ideology. The official Palestinian Authority school textbooks demonize Jews, they demonize Israel. Their media, TV shows and print media encourage the killing of Jews. And, this is very important, the Palestinian Authority has a program that we call Pay for Slay, where they pay the families of terrorists who've murdered Israelis or even tourists who are visiting Israel. A Palestinian terrorist murders an Israeli, and then for the rest of his life, he receives a generous stipend. If the terrorist is killed in the act of terrorism, which is quite common, then the terrorist's family receives a lifetime pension, a lifetime stipend from the Palestinian Authority. The total amount paid out every year by the Palestinian Authority is estimated in the hundreds of millions of dollars. That's money paid to the families of terrorists as a reward for committing acts of terrorism. Furthermore, to top it off, Fatah, which is the faction within the Palestinian political community that is the Palestinian Authority's own faction, Fatah terrorists participated in the October 7th massacre. The Palestinian Authority is basically a terror-supporting and terrorist organization, that has this official legitimacy that was granted to it by the United States and by the world community as the official governmental representatives of the Palestinian people. So why are they fighting Hamas now? Meaning their ideology, their anti-Israel ideology is indistinguishable from Hamas's. They hate the Israelis as much as Hamas does. They participated in October 7th. They praise terrorist murderers. They pay their families. Why are they fighting Hamas? So they're fighting Hamas for a couple of reasons. First, they simply do not want to lose more control over the areas that are controlled by Hamas and Palestinian Islamic Jihad. However, and that's what was said in that report that I just showed you, but they've already lost control of a lot of these areas. They lost control of some of these areas years ago. So why now? Why are they fighting Hamas now? And you see that there's actually a civil war going on. People are being killed on both sides. Well, when Donald Trump was in office in his first term, he cut off all aid to the Palestinian Authority so long as they would continue to pay out these stipends to the families of terrorists. And they refused to stop paying the families of terrorists, so he cut off aid to them. He put it in escrow and said as soon as they stop paying the families, they can get the money. When the Biden administration came into office, they resumed payments to the Palestinian Authority. Now, the Palestinian Authority leaders realize that Trump is coming back into office. They want to show Trump that they're fighting against the terrorists. Now, the Biden administration has been talking about how in the day after Israel finishes destroying Hamas in the Gaza Strip and destroys their military and government capabilities, that the day after, as it were, the future for the Gaza Strip will be that the Palestinian Authority will come in and they'll be the governing body in the Gaza Strip. The Israelis have been kind of mum on the topic, but everyone here in Israel knows that that's an impossibility because, as I mentioned, the Palestinian Authority almost 20 years ago lost control of the Gaza Strip to Hamas, and they can't even govern what they have. But the Biden administration wants to keep the hopes of a two-state solution alive, and the only officially legitimate representatives of the Palestinian people that they could gift a Palestinian state to, meaning if there were to be negotiations between Israel and the Palestinians on the creation of a Palestinian state, if such negotiations were to happen, the Palestinian side would be the Palestinian Authority. Again, they've been granted this legitimacy by the world community as representatives of the Palestinian people. So now the Palestinian Authority has to fight against Hamas. They have to try to root out Hamas and get them out of control of the areas they have as a way of showing the world that they are a reformed Palestinian Authority, that they are now good guys, that they're fighting the bad guys, and therefore they're people that we should trust and we should be able to work with because they're on the right side of this battle. Now, on top of this, there was a very interesting situation that happened a number of weeks back where the Biden administration, the Defense Department, reached out to the Israelis and asked the Israelis to supply weapons to the Palestinian Authority to assist them in their battles against Hamas, because these battles that we saw the report on have been going on for a little while now. The Israelis refused, which was, of course, the right move. The Palestinian Authority is a sworn enemy of Israel, even though they pretend to the West to be the peacemakers and to be the peace partner and to be more moderate than Hamas. They're actually not. They're the ones, like I said, who've been educating Palestinian children to genocide against the Jews. They praise the October 7th massacres. And as you saw in that video, their spokesman, even to this day, continues to praise terrorists who come from their ranks. The Israelis refused to give them weapons to help them in this fight because helping them win this fight, it would only continue the farce that they are somehow some legitimate, peaceful representative of the Palestinian people that we could work with. So instead, what we have now is this straight up civil war. Now, what to watch for is this. If the Palestinian Authority continues to fail in their mission to destroy Hamas, there will be no option of an officially sanctioned peaceful partner on the Palestinian side to have any negotiations with on the day after. Even if they're in some measure successful at fighting against Hamas, they are becoming even more hated by the Palestinian people because Hamas is very popular in these areas. So what we're seeing in front of us is a complete dissolution of any kind of governing authority that the Palestinian Authority still had at all, by virtue of the fact that they're trying to signal to the West that they're part of the good guys fighting against the evil Hamasniks. What it's really showing is that the Palestinian Authority has no ability to govern anything and certainly no ability to represent the people it purports to represent. So it's a very chaotic situation. It's very dangerous for Israelis. It's very dangerous for Israel because unlike Gaza, which is over at the edge bordering on Israel, but there are no Israelis living there, or Lebanon, where Hezbollah is, which is again over the border in another country. So what we're seeing here is an out and out civil war between Hamas and Islamic Jihad and the Palestinian Authority for control over these areas. And we're going to continue to watch this story as it has grave implications for the situation here in Israel. Please be sure to like, subscribe, comment below if you have anything to say about this video, tell people about this channel, and we will continue to bring you news and information from Israel that you are not hearing about.